Bro, did you see this arm? Did y'all see his arm that just posted on Twitter? Bro, like, that guy can quit football and go into powerlifting right now.
12 things you should know about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is one of the best signal callers in the NFL, but even as he's risen to prominence in the league, there's much more to his story than meets the eye. From his incredible strength to being forced off his college football team, there are hidden layers to Hurts' journey. And let's not forget, he's got some secret sporting talents up his sleeve too. Here are 12 things you should know about Jalen Hurts. Kicking things off at number 12, let's talk about Hurts' early years. Hurts was born into a sports-loving family, as his dad was a football coach at Channelview High School in Texas. So little Hurts got a head start in football because of that, and practically grew up on the field. Talking about it back in 2016, Hurts said, "It's just in your blood. I remember as a kid I always wore a shirt that said, 'Born to play football.' I was born into this stuff because of my dad. I'm happy it happened that way." So from a young age, Hurts developed thick skin thanks to his dad. They spent countless hours together with the Channelview team, sometimes jumping in on drills. Some think that Coach Hurts would play favorites with Jalen, being his son-in-law, but it was the opposite. Jalen was held to a higher standard than anyone else. His dad was tougher on him, even ripping into him in front of the team if he made a mistake. But instead of getting upset, Jalen used it to fuel his game. In his senior year, Hurts made some serious moves, passing for 2,384 yards with 26 touchdown passes and rushing for 1,391 yards and 25 touchdowns. That's how he became a four-star recruit, standing out as one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks of his class. Now at number 11, let's talk about another skill Hurts picked up back in high school, powerlifting. If you ever wondered why Hurts is so built, well, here's your answer. Outside of football, he was all about adding muscle to his frame. When he wasn't on the gridiron, you'd find him in the weight room putting in the work. And boy, did he get good at it. Competing at a Texas high school state powerlifting meet as a sophomore, he came in second out of 85 lifters by squatting 500 pounds. But second place wasn't enough for Hurts. He knew powerlifting could boost his game, so he kept grinding. The following year, he bumped that already impressive number to 575 pounds, while also benching 275 pounds and deadlifting 585 pounds. But as crazy as that was, that's nothing compared to our number 10, the 32-year record Jalen Hurts obliterated during his college career. Former Alabama's head honcho Nick Saban is the undisputed greatest college football coach of all time. And before Hurts came along, Saban never started a true freshman quarterback since 1984. At first, it seemed like Hurts wouldn't break this streak, as he was labeled as the backup for the season opener. But then, in a twist of fate during their first game, Hurts replaced the starter and scored 4 touchdowns in a blowout win. He was so on fire and composed out there that Saban had no choice but to switch up his game plan. The following week, history was made. Hurts became the first true freshman to start at quarterback for Alabama in 32 years. And boy, did he prove his coach right. He threw for 2,780 yards and 23 touchdowns, with 9 interceptions while rushing for a whopping 954 yards and 13 touchdowns, and led the Tide to the national championship game, where they fell short against Clemson. But at number 9, let's talk about one of his greatest challenges. In his sophomore year, Hurts led the Tide to 11-1 regular season record, setting the stage for a showdown with the Georgia Bulldogs in the title game. Things weren't looking good for Alabama though. At halftime, they were trailing 13-0. So in a move that shocked everyone, Saban benched Hurts for freshman quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Tua then led the Tide to a jaw-dropping comeback victory in overtime. Now you think Hurts would be fuming about being benched on the biggest stage, right? But that's not who he is. Hurts said, "Me being emotional, what good would that have done to the guys around me? The joy of being able to hold up a national championship trophy and achieve that goal as a team. Regardless of how I got there, it's a joyful moment." Man, talk about maturity. Not many people his age would handle it like that. But it just goes to show what a special player, teammate, and person Hurts has always been. But that wasn't the end of Hurts' challenges heading into his junior season. After Tagovailoa led the Crimson Tide to victory in the national championship the year before, questions swirled about whether Hurts would remain the starting quarterback for Alabama. Soon enough, Tua was named the starter, leaving Hurts as the backup for the whole year. After riding the bench, Hurts realized it was time for a change. With only 1 year of eligibility left, he didn't want to watch from the sidelines as his career slipped away. so he made the tough decision to transfer from Alabama. He had his eyes on two schools, Maryland and Miami. It was a tough choice, knowing that this was his last shot to prove himself for the NFL. Seeking advice, he turned to Saban, who suggested a different path, Oklahoma. Saban believed Hurts needed to join a team with top-notch talent around him to boost his draft prospects. Taking Saban's advice to heart, Hurts committed himself to the Sooners. And boy, did it pay off. He had the best statistical season of his career and racked up 3,851 passing yards, 32 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 1,298 rushing yards, and 20 rushing touchdowns, proving once and for all that he belonged in the NFL. That said, at number 7, let's talk about how Hurts made his way to the NFL. During the 2020 NFL Draft, Hurts was completely caught off guard. You see, by the time the draft rolls around, most top prospects have a pretty good idea of when and by whom they'll get drafted, but not Hurts. He nervously waited as pick after pick went by without hearing his name called. Then in the latter half of the second round, he finally got the call he'd been waiting for. With the 53rd pick, the Philadelphia Eagles selected Hurts.
With the 53rd pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jalen Hurts, quarterback, Oklahoma.
It was a move that stunned everyone outside the Eagles organization. Just the previous summer, Philly had signed Carson Wentz to a massive contract extension worth $128 million with over $100 million guaranteed. No player in NFL history had ever received that much guaranteed money. So nobody expected the Eagles to use a second-round pick on a quarterback like Hurts, and he was just as surprised by the pick as everyone else. Anyways, at number 6, let's talk about how sometimes you find a real gem when you least expect it. Coming in as the 53rd overall pick in the second round of the 2020 NFL Draft, everybody thought Hurts would be the team's third-string quarterback. But guess what? He quickly moved up the ranks, becoming Carson Wentz's backup in his rookie season. Then in his second year, Hurts faced a whole new ball game. It was time to see if he could step up and lead the team. Could he be more than just a speedy runner or a decoy in the backfield? Well, it was time to find out. During that offseason, he was named Philly's starting QB, carrying the weight of the city on his shoulders. And you know what? Hurts rose to the occasion. He finished the season with 3,144 passing yards, 16 passing touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Plus, he racked up an impressive 784 rushing yards and scored 10 rushing touchdowns. And get this, he even led the Eagles to the playoffs, although they eventually lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wildcard round. Now that's what you call taking a step up. Speaking of taking a step up, at number 5, Hurts took the lessons from his second year and went on to produce one of his best seasons yet, doing the unthinkable. Heading into the 2022 campaign, Hurts was a man on a mission. His goal? To prove to everyone, both inside and outside the Eagles organization, that he could be the face of the franchise for years to come. Well, in the 2022 season, Hurts silenced the critics. In Philly's first 8 games, he made a statement that was impossible to ignore. He led the Birds to an unprecedented 8-0 start, a feat never achieved by another Eagles quarterback in franchise history. By the end of the season, Hurts had a starting record of 14-1, matching a franchise best alongside Cunningham. He tallied an impressive 35 total touchdowns, with 22 passing and 13 rushing, while only throwing 6 interceptions. Not to mention, he racked up 3,701 passing yards and flaunted a stellar 101.5 quarterback rating. But perhaps most importantly, he led the Eagles to a Super Bowl 57 appearance, where they narrowly fell to the Kansas City Chiefs in a last-second heartbreaker. Talk about an unforgettable season. But as crazy as Hurts is on the football field, he's also got skills in the sport you might not expect, softball. Back in 2022, Jalen Hurts joined his teammates and wide receiver Devontae Smith for Smith's annual charity softball game in Allenstown, Pennsylvania. Now, this game was all about having fun for a good cause, but that didn't stop Hurts from putting on an incredible performance. The charity game took place at the home stadium of the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs AAA team, and Hurts didn't hold back. He showed off his softball prowess by hitting a 2-run home run, helping lead his team to a thrilling 13-12 victory. Hurts sealed the game with a walk-off home run, sending the ball over the right field fence, proving he's not just a one-sport athlete. But at number 3, as Hurts' outstanding performance on the field continues to gain admiration every Sunday, there's a hidden talent that most people don't know about. In an interview with GQ, Hertz was asked to share something about himself that would surprise people. His response? "I cooked the best crawfish that they'd ever had. I think I'm the greatest in the game. And you know what?" The usually modest Hertz didn't stop there. He went on to claim that his crawfish cooking skills are angelic. Now, coming from someone who typically keeps a low profile, that's saying something. Just like his approach on the gridiron, Hertz takes his crawfish cooking seriously. He's mastered a secret recipe that covers everything from cleaning the crawfish to preparing the corn for the boil. His passion and expertise stem from his upbringing in Houston, where crawfish boils are a big deal. It's just one more aspect of Hertz's life that has contributed to shaping the emerging star he is today. Anyway, at number 2, let's talk about Hertz's private side. While his triumphs on the field are known nationwide, Hertz prefers to keep his love life out of the spotlight. Until the NFC Championship on January 29, 2023, after his team's victory over the San Francisco 49ers, securing their spot in the Super Bowl, Hertz stepped onto the field hand in hand with a girl, later identified as his girlfriend, Brianna "Bri" Rivera Burrows. Burrows stood proudly beside Hertz and even joined in the celebrations, embracing friends and family. Fast forward to April 2023, and Hertz opened up about his relationship with Burrows in an interview with Essence. "I'm not married or anything like that, but I am spoken for," he revealed, explaining that the couple had been dating off and on since they met at the University of Alabama. Hertz further expressed that he had known for a long time that Burrows was the one for him. Hertz and Burrows first crossed paths at the University of Alabama, where they were both students. Hertz played football for the school for 3 seasons, from 2016 to 2018, before transferring to the University of Oklahoma for his senior year. Burrows graduated in 2017, and according to her LinkedIn profile, she has had a successful career at IBM. But at number 1, let's talk about a major milestone in Jalen Hurts' career. Back in 2023, Hurts inked a record-setting contract extension worth a whopping $255 million, making him the highest-earning player in the NFL history in terms of annual earnings. This jaw-dropping deal includes over $110 million in fully guaranteed money at the time of signing, with $179 million guaranteed in case of injury. With an average annual salary of $51 million, it's safe to say he got quite the raise. To put it in perspective, back in 2020, Hurts' annual salary was a modest $610,000. It jumped to $883,000 in 2021 and hit $1 million in 2022. Fast forward to today, and according to SpotTrack, he's set to earn $40 million in 2024, $42 million in 2025, and a whopping $51 million each year from 2026 to 2028. It just goes to show how far he's come in his career. There you have it. If there's anything we missed or if you have any thoughts, feel free to let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to drop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button for more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching.